All right. That looks reasonably stable. So, welcome once again to Sound Goblin Gaming, D&D and Hindsight, all that stuff for jazz. And this week we'll be doing Fiendish Codex 2, Tyrants of the Nine Hells. I am Vincent.
I am the Krampus.
I'm under grain.
And I'm Vincent. And man, do I have a deal for you.
Before this deal, I do have to make a comment about the the cover here.
Huh.
If you had told me this was part of the same set as a lot of the previous books, I would not have believed you, because visually it is very different.
Fiendish Codex 1 was a similar manner, actually. Okay. Let me pull that up for a second. Because... yeah, Hordes of the Abyss. First, same style.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they just did that for the Fiendish Codexes. But yeah, and as that kind of alludes, this is the second of the Fiendish Codex books that explores the opposite side of the lower planes, the devils and the nine hells of Beator. The lawful evil part of the alignment, basically. Which starts with the preface. A tale of the Pack Primeval, and I do mean here A. As there are several tellings of the Pack Primeval in various D&D materials and editions, so if this sounds different from something else you've heard, that's intentional. So, for a dramatic summary. So everything starts with just chaos, and from that, demons who fought each other until law. The deities of the new universe, born of a desire to kill chaos, they attack the demons because demons, only to eventually realize that the demons were probably infinite and this world creation thing sounded fun. So they made 8 angels and had them do the Doomslayer thing while the deities went off to play Civ -1 only for realsies or something like that. The bestest boy of these angels was Asmodeus, who was said to be the most beautiful, until he and his fellow angels weren't, as fighting the demons made them take on some of the traits of them. Stare into the abyss, yada yada, stares back. This made the other Celestials fear him and want to ambush Asmodeus. So he was put on trial before Heronius, god of valor, but Asmodeus easily argued his way out of that one, as all his company was doing was slaying chaos. Later on, the newly created mortal realms were attacked by demons, which Asmodeus and company were called to fight, driving the demons back and barricading their portals with mountains, walls, IHOPs, and all kinds of other things, which some of the mortals promptly went to work uncovering, annoying the crap out of the law gods. Asmodeus pointed out...
International House of Pazuzu.
Exactly. Asmodeus pointed out that this would just keep happening if the gods created other worlds, but he had a solution. Punish the lawbreakers as an example. And of course, Asmodeus and his angels were more than happy to do it. Right in the gods' backyards for their evil. A concept that became born from this revelation, adding the good and evil axis to the alignment chart. After a while, the gods were sick of having flayed mortals whining on their lawns, and asked Asmodeus if he could turn that shit down, to which he offered a proposal. A pact, if you will. He would take his ass and the asses of the other blackened angels to the empty plane of Beator and do their tortures away from the gods, on the condition that they would now get their power from the wicked souls instead of the gods. The gods agreed to this primeval deal, and Asmodeus and crew headed off to set up their hells, with blackjack and hookers. The gods were mostly satisfied until they realized they were getting far less souls, at which point they realized that the mortals were being tempted into sin by Asmodeus and his posse so they could bolster their numbers, which was not what the gods were expecting, to which Asmodeus responded, "Read the fine print." Note that this is the devil's version of the story, so Asmodeus is being glazed as expected.
I was going to say, this does sound like an Asmodeus fluff piece as read by Asmodeus. So...
Asmodeus and Asmodeus simp. Some combination of that.
Look, if you're not going to simp for yourself, who are you?
Exactly. In any case, on to chapter 1. The devils and how they operate, a proper. So, as the economy of hell kind of says right there, souls are the money of hell, where all power comes from and drives the actions of the devils. Their operations are half collecting souls and half fighting the blood war, which we'll get to later, really. So, damning a soul effectively marks it as property for the devil, and its lord distributed their lawful owners upon arrival in Beator through the river Styx, a task done roughly by the bearded devils. After arrival on their proper layer comes the paperwork, bureaucracy, and of course, torture. After which, more torture until all the power is stripped from the soul shell, and a husk is thrown into a pit, which turns into Elamir, the lowest tier of demon that is barely sentient, but is ready to climb the corporate ladder. And that is very much the motivation of all devils, not named Asmodeus. They all want promotions at all times. Devils are divided into 3 broad tiers: least, the minor hordes; lesser, the middle management; and greater, the autonomous management, the highest of which is pit fiends, before you get to the unique devils. Above all these categories are dukes, all of which are unique devils, who scheme to be one of the 9 lords of hell who ruled the top, basically. And over here, we'll see the actual advancement chart proper. So basically, as devils get promoted, they just kind of go up this chart. There's a few exceptions that you can only happen upon demotion, or Areniers uniquely are the only ones who can become pleasure devils. Various little things like that.
I feel for the people who have to become bone devils, because it's like, I get a promotion. What now? You lose your skin. Fuck.
Don't worry, I'll get back later.
I'm going to take somebody else's skin.
But yeah, advancement itself has to be approved of by your superiors, with greater devil status needing the approval of the Lord proper. Of course, exceptions in politics exist because devils. Also, a sidebar here. Sometimes souls belonging to no one end up in hell, which are both valuable and usually a source of brawls. So any lawful evil soul that does not specifically end up in a deity's domain belongs to the devils. More specifically, they will be marked almost always by one demon lord, or not one demon, one devil lord, or one archdevil or another. Archduke, I'm trying to remember the name. Archduke or archdevil, they're used interchangeably. But we'll be marked by one of the 9 archdukes, and more specifically, one of their minions, usually. The mark is not because they've not always, and often isn't because of any direct action. As a matter of fact, it's because of even the vaguest of indirect actions. So an unmarked soul basically has to become lawful evil, and no devil with it has done like anything to remotely do that could remotely be do anything to claim that soul, which is insanely rare. Mind you, most people condemned to the hells do not actually come within a mile of a devil during their lifetime. But even just being within one of their territory, or one of their claimed territories / hunting grounds, is enough to actually get you marked, basically. Let's see. Also, the other sidebar here. Other evil deities also have problems with devils, basically just turning evil souls away from worshiping them. So if you're a lawful evil person, but you actually worship a lawful evil deity, you would actually normally go to their afterlife. However, if you stop worshiping them, then you become property of the devils. Let's see. But yeah, by right of the pack primeval, devils are allowed to claim lawful evil souls and harvest soul energy, which drives them to corrupt mortals more and more, so they can gain more soul energy, basically divine energy, which is distributed as such. You torture all the divine soul out of the soul that comes there, or divine energy out of the soul that comes there. It goes to the guy at top, whichever archdevil happens to be your boss, and then gets distributed downwards as they see fit. Because it's hell, it's a hierarchy.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Imps are the first rank that are truly allowed to try and actually corrupt mortals through manipulations, sometimes as free agents, though often they're attached to a mortal who are already captured by hell. Just basically the classic devil whispering in the ear type thing is mainly what imps tend to do. Ironically, imps are actually kind of weaker than the stuff that comes before them in tier. Like bearded devils are actually a physically stronger devil, but imps are the ones that are most easily actually come to the mortal plane. So it is seen as a promotion to go to an imp for precisely that reason, because at that point you can actually start capturing souls, and one of the best ways to gain promotions is to capture souls. Let's see. Harvester Devils and Arenias can make Faustian pacts, which we'll talk about later. It's one of the more direct ways for them to get souls. And yeah, as I kind of mentioned before, Devils stake out effectively hunting grounds, which is basically like, this is my territory. All lawful evil souls within are basically going to be mine, even if they've never encountered them. And again, most don't. And is why most souls are claimed. This is also a source of inner conflict between the factions, because whose hunting ground is where is very much it very much leads to conflict. This might be a fight. It's usually paperwork. They also need to deal with goody-goodies turning souls away from evil and demons making everyone chaotic loons. Also, sidebar, original claim stands even if the mortal goes between alignments before any back as lawful evil again. They can bounce around they can bounce around all they like, as long as they end up as lawful evil when they die. Then they belong to whoever originally turned them to lawful evil. Yeah. And the other activity of devils, the Blood War, the eternal battle of the demons. So, Hell's forces are led by the Lord of Avernus, which in this edition is Bel. This goes back and forth between him and Zariel, but depending on the edition, but Bel is always around. Armies from the other 8 layers are here as well, each led by one of the pit fiends known as the Dark Eight. For the devils to conquer Hell, it is set up so each layer would have to be conquered and dedicated before the demons can move lower, and they've never held Avernus for more than a day. Asmodeus sees the devils as the foot soldiers in the cosmic conflict to hold back the demons from destroying everything, and then themselves wanting to win the Blood War, basically, and then conquer he basically wants to win the Blood War and then conquer the higher planes. Or other machinations like that. This is kind of troublesome considering the infinite nature of the demons. Or nigh infinite nature of the demons. In any case, devils employ mercenaries and clever tactics. What few demons fight the Blood War in comparison to the population of the Abyss, and demons themselves aren't organized, which is saying something considering they tend to actually get into Hell fairly often. And most of them don't fight the Blood War. It's usually like some press-ganged devils and various various disorganized groups. It's just or demons. There are just that many demons. Let's see. And devils as monsters. Basically, devils are ambitious. They act within law in hopes of one day being the one to use it against their underlings. They work with lawful evil deities, but they don't worship them at all. They get their divine power directly from the archdevils, who are empowered by the lawful evil souls that come to the Abyss, or not the Abyss, that come to the Nine Hells. Also, most devils can't reproduce. The Arenias and Pleasure Devils can do the Pregos thing, and unique devils, Dukes and Archdevils, can actually reproduce proper, but barely do so. Let's see. Also, going over the various differences between devils and demons, which is pretty easily summed up as demons like to destroy things, devils like to corrupt things. Demons are trying to tear down the entire universe, devils are trying to conquer and rule it. Let's see. Yes, the Devil's Fear table over here. Their top 9 fears: items that overcome damage reduction, anarchic weapons, disorder, failure, scheming of their underlings, their immediate superior, their archdevil, oblivion, and finally, demotion. Demotion is literally a fake worse than non-existence.
Well, yeah, when promotion and demotion means you are physically changed form and given or stripped of power.
Yeah. Also, yeah, them starting to get into general guide of how to devil. Like here, creating encounters, running encounters, them in their campaign in general. It varies from devil to devil what you're going to have them do. In general, when it comes to the mortal planes, you tend to encounter a lot of the more tempter varieties, but a lot of the foot soldiers of the Blood War types, and there are a lot of varieties of those. Those are the ones you're going to more see. Or if you're a DM and you want to use if you just want a straightforward fight encounter, there's a lot of devils that fit that criteria pretty strictly. And finally, dealing with devils. So going to that Faustian Pact thing, which is bargaining your soul away, which comes in two flavors: the Pact Certain and the Pact Insidious. Devils will do as little as possible to fulfill a bargain when it's signed, and usually arrange for the mortal to meet their death, so their alignment can't change, which will a lot of the times get them out of the contract. Pact Certain pledges a Pact Certain pledges the signer to a Lord of Hell and changes their alignment to lawful evil as part of the terms of the Pact Primeval, though this is nullified if the signature is proved to be made under duress of one sort or another. Is literally just straightforward signing your soul away for whatever the devil is offering you in exchange. Pacts Insidious are pledging to do X for the devil doing Y, basically. It's like, I'll do this thing you want me to do if you do this favor, but it doesn't involve direct, like, damning your soul to hell. However, everything Immortal does under this pact is going to be a corrupt act, because that's what the devil's going to be asking you to do, which will bring your soul closer to damnation, and we'll talk about that corrupt acts more later, because it's its own little system. Let's see, and souls who are in the know, however, can try to fight their damnation, and they are obliged to a fair hearing by the Pact Primeval. Note that it is possible to win this case and still be condemned to hell due to being a douche nozzle anyways. It's like, congratulations, you got out of that pact, but you're still lawful evil and worship no one, so you belong to hell. Let's see. Also of note, there are cults and devil worship. All the lords of hell other than Bel have cults. And there are two types of cults: revealed cults and hidden cults. Basically, a revealed cult, you know what you're worshipping. This is a cult of Asmodeus, you're worshipping Asmodeus. This is a cult of Mephistopheles, you're worshipping Asmodeus.
Something about that doesn't sound right, but okay.
Hidden cults they'll be worshipping under some weird, obscure name of one sort or another, and only the guy at top actually knows what you're worshipping. We're worshipping Sluggo the Righteous. Certainly not Beelzebub.
Sluggo's gonna be mean to me. And I asked for it.
Let's see. Oh yes, you can also try to get info from devils or use them as allies. This is a bad idea, obviously. You could do it.
Best of ideas.
So in any case, that
could possibly go wrong.
A lot. Quite a lot. So anyways, corrupt acts, or how to be evil. Basically, kind of subsystem system in this book where, here's some acts, they have corruption points. Using an evil spell gives you a corruption point. When you get to 9 corruption points, you're damned to hell. Or at least you're damned to an evil alignment of one sort or another. And then there's the side one here, acts of obeisance, which is the same thing but law. With the general idea of trying to convert a chaotic, evil demon worshiper to kind of being lawful evil and condemned to hell instead. Alright, so on to chapter 2. The 9 hells themselves. Before me all things were none, save eternal, and eternal I endure. I too can read Dante. By the way, they use this line twice, and I hate them for it. You can't use abandon all hope more than once. Sorry. You're not allowed to.
Abandon all originality.
Yeah. You can use it once, it's fine, but the second time you're just you've gone too far. So, while Mars can visit 9 hells, no devil will welcome you, and passage anywhere is impossible without permission of a powerful enough devil lord to give you that. The bargains can be struck if you're willing to deal with the devil. Literally. Right. A quick map of the 9 hells, and loosely how this works. This isn't some metaphorical map. These layers literally are on top of each other. You can actually see by jangling hitter, this one is literally, tethered to this is a city tethered to the plane above it, and we'll talk about it a bit later.
I was gonna say, it looks like it's like the one above it is a giant balloon that's being kept there by lines.
Also, as a quick aside, the details of the Archdevils are in this section proper, but we'll be mostly talking about them in their own chapters, so I'm mainly focusing on the layers at the moment. So if you see a giant section that's talking about the lore of the section, I'm not saying much that's in there, that's why. Hey guys, starting with first layer, Avernus. Is often invaded by demons, despite the best effort of its lord Bel, and the plane shows signs of recent battle with blood and viscera everywhere, pretty much at all times. Also, here's the River Styx. It's in a few of the other layers as well. Avernus is the effective headquarters of all devils who fight the Blood War, led by Bel and the Dark Eight, who each manage the tribune armies of the other archdevils. Uniquely, this lair has no dukes, with the only unique devils in the lair being a couple of servants of Tiamat. Speaking of, Avernus is also home to the Vine Realms of Kurtlemak, the Kobold God, and Tiamat, Queen of the Chromatic Dragons. Not really much more to say on that. It is a battlefield. It is also the only entrance into. It is also the only straight entrance into into the Nine Hells from anywhere else. You can't generally go into the deeper layers without first going through Avernus. You have to go through the layers in order because it's a lawful plane. It tends to have rules.
So, interesting tidbit. There's a company that I rather like the CRPGs of called Spiderweb Software, and one of the series that they have is called Avernus the Pit, which is about a gigantic pit that acts as your standard like hole to throw criminals into.
Yeah.
And it's just this huge subrealm, and almost certainly there's a thematic connection between the two. But I'm wondering, since I've never played the Avernus series, if it's literally supposed to be the realm of Avernus, or if it's just they're invoking the name to make comparisons.
I have not dug enough into the name of Avernus itself. So when it comes to devils, unlike demons where they just threw a bunch of syllables together generally, or, well, there's the occasional thing like Demogorgon, which actually is from somewhere else. But,
right.
Depending on what it... Huh?
I said, yeah, Stranger Things. No, I'm aware it came first in D&D. I'm making a joke. I'm sorry.
It didn't come first in D&D. It's from it's from a, I think, Coptic religion.
No, sorry. I know Stranger Things got it from D&D.
But yeah, Stranger Things did get it from D&D, yes. D&D itself got it from other places. But yeah, the references when it comes to devils and devil names are as straight goddamn forward as possible. When it comes to a vast majority of them, you are looking at biblical names, usually.
Yep. I mean, why make up names for devils when you've got a whole book of them right there?
Yeah. In any case, on to figuring out where I was in my notes because I just accidentally moved it. Okay, there we go. Dis, the second layer and home of Dispater. Its prominent feature is the city of Dis itself, which is actually the vast majority of the layer. An imposing and trapping city where no two maps of it are the same. The cityscape changes with the mind of its lord, and whose fortress of iron is an ever-changing, ugly black structure that is always just one block away, no matter where you are or where you go in the city.
Also famous for their despairs.
Yep. Also in the city is the Garden of Delights, an oasis of pleasure designed to entrap and corrupt or kill visitors. It's hell. What do you want? Mentiri, a prison that houses both non-lawful evil prisoners being forced into situations where they become lawful evil, so they can be killed and become petitioners, and they can harvest their souls. It's the same shtick they always do. And also the souls of non-lawful evil beings that Dispater can't actually do anything with directly, and is instead holding them for ransom or exchange, usually Faustian pacts. Yeah, it doesn't. They have to actually corrupt them into lawful evil before they die. If they're already dead, it doesn't work. Also, here is God Street, the Divine Realm, for all the minor lawful evil deities who aren't big enough to actually get to give a fuck about. If you make a lawful evil deity, congratulations, he has something. He has a shrine on God Street somewhere. Let's see. And on to the third layer, Minoros, and the home of Mammon, a plane with constant oily black rain, usually accompanied by a very damaging hail that's full of swamps, mudflats, mires, and bad smells. It is also heavily urbanized, with the main city being also named Minoros, which is also called the Sinking City because it's slowly sinking into the swamp. Also, the other town of Jangling Hitter that I was pointing out earlier, a city that solved the mud problem in sinking into the swamp by instead anchoring itself to Dis, the layer above it, with a bunch of pillars that are supported by chains. Hitter is, in a related note, Hitter is populated mostly by skilled chain devil torturers who are good enough to be contracted by other archdukes, including Asmodeus himself. Hitter also has a merchant district, which is, strangely enough, relatively safe. Mammoth is the Archduke of Greed, after all. And the visitor district is open to anyone, even the uninvited, who sometimes make it this deep, though it is known as the Meat District to the Clued Inn, and the book gives no further details on that. Also on this layer is the Labyrinth of Truth, where Mammon keeps all of his paperwork and bureaucracy, which is mostly worthless, includes worthless things like his constant promotions and demotions of his minions, but it also contains maps, blackmail material, details on various diabolic plots and schemes. Also, the Divine Realm of Hecate is here. Alright. Phlegethos, the fourth layer, ruled by Fierna, and her father Belial in this... and in this place, everything is on fire, and the fire hates you. Rivers of fire, jets of flames, the whole 9 yards of classic hellscape. Fierda's palace is a tower of crystalline stone wreathed in blue flames, full of various pleasure domes dedicated to individual vices, as well as a large warren of prison cells below it that she can poke at from anywhere, of which a large amount of prisoners are her former paramours. This has not stopped other people from being her paramours. There's also a pit of flames because this stereotype had to go somewhere, which primarily exists to punish Badazu. Badazu, by the way, is the name of the proper name of devils, sort of, kind of. But it punishes them by suspending them in iron balls over the lake, including ones that have failed other archdukes who contribute to the maintenance of this place. Flame columns shoot out from the lake in several places, which are hot enough to torment even the fire immune things like devils, to the point where all they can do is convulse in agony. Abramock is a city housed inside... Also, Abramock over there is a city housed inside an active volcano, and is home to the Devil Police Force for the upper 4 layers, as well as the quote-unquote independent judiciary, who hear cases of contracts between devils in different chains of command, as well as the souls appealing their Faustian pacts. The arms trade of the 9 Hells is also centered here, with the primary ore for Beatorian green steel coming from the magma. Also, foot travel obviously doesn't work here because, you know, the city is basically Venice, but fire. So you have to hop rides in green steel gondolas to get around if you don't fly. Also, this place makes... So this place makes shrivers, which are automatic soul torturing devices, but a mortal can endure it. A mortal can endure it and treat it as a magical location, gaining abilities for surviving the torture, which is... Yeah, so... Magical locations... what's it called? Magical locations are from... I believe Dungeon Master DM's Guide 2. Yeah, it was from DM's Guide 2 originally. It is basically loot but this location. As you get access to this location, you do something, and then you get a buff for a fairly large period of time. Or some extra abilities for a very large period of time. This one is interesting in the sense that basically every round you're in the torture device, you take damage. And if you survive that damage, you gain this ability, then this ability, then this ability, then this ability, etc., etc. However, I believe all these are considered a corrupting act, and actually to get out, you have to make an escape artist check, so...
Well, I mean, in a way, doing the torture thing is a sort of contract.
Yeah.
Technically correct, the best kind of correct style. Or like, you got into the torture thing for power, and now I'm torturing you, and now you've gotten your powers, so now we've made a contract, right? All the demons not around, or the devil's not around you. Yeah.
Oh wait, sorry. It's either a corrupting act or an obescient act. So, so technically, if you just take it as a obescient act, you don't actually have to worry about falling into hell if you're not evil. Depending on what DM lets you get away with, which is probably not that. Hey guys, Stygia, the fifth layer, which is ruled by Levistus, and is on the opposite end of the weather spectrum, filled with ice flows and icebergs, including the one containing Levistus himself, but we'll talk more about him in a later chapter when we do the Archdevils, basically. The city of Tantalin occupies the largest and most centralized iceberg, with all of it being either carved from the iceberg itself or made from frozen water. The city descended into above-average violence when Levistus first ascended to power, when a mad pit fiend decided that the former Archduke's servitors should prove themselves by battling for supremacy. Levistus eventually had to deal with the chaos by having his minions freeze the pit fiend solid, then shatter her into a million pieces. Today's the city's hierarchy is frozen with rigid, with each type of devil being confined to its specific city sections. Notably with the most powerful ones being at the center and lesser powerful ones outside, and no one can go between any of these districts, making it a strangely good hunting ground for player characters, because you could just stick to like the outer district and you're not going to have to worry about running into like a pit fiend or something. The primary industry of Tantalin is paperwork for all 9 of the layers. Levistus himself is frozen inside of Levistus' tomb, a giant iceberg that refuses all attempts he makes to try and control it. Also, the duelist chasm exists for devils that have filed the proper paperwork to fight out their differences, and is also kind of basically a Coliseum. Proper paperwork, by the way, takes several weeks to actually fully complete, so you really have to hold a grudge. On their hand, they're devils, so they really hold a grudge. Let's see. The Hall of the Vanquished is a museum-style collection of souls forced to become statues by the Bind to Hell spell that is located over here. They can be animated with the right words and are used for training fights. Yeah, Bind to Hell itself is only actually learnable and usable effectively by clerks of Levistus proper. Let's see. Also, the Pillar of Garyon, who is the former Archduke of Stygia's, is a magical location of its own right. Similar idea. Yeah. It of itself doesn't do any corrupting, but by doing corrupting things, you can extend the duration from 99 days even further, so you don't have to come back to, the 5th layer of the Abyss in order to actually get this buff back. Which is the other problem with magical locations, as they're just kind of there. You can't really move them. Let's see. Also, here's the Divine Realms of Set and Sekala, who is the god of the Sahuagin. Alright, and on to Malbolge. The 6th layer and home of Glacia, daughter of Asmodeus, and before her recent ascent as an archdevil, Malbolge was a never-ending slope with boulders bouncing all over the place, ruled by the Hag Countess. But it is now an overgrown corpse of its former ruler, of its former ruler, who's effectively been turned into a giant grotesque terrain thing. Osea is Glass's fortress, composed of the Hag Countess's skull, which borders the Hair Forest, a place of twisting trees and briars that is hard to map out. A hard to map out place that Glacia uses to hide treasures and oubliettes. The dwelling chambers for most of Glacia's minions is underground in the Hag's innards, which is exactly what they sound like. In the center of the lair is the birthing pit, where the flayed souls are turned into lemures for Glacia proper, or for Glacia in particular, who then basically just wander around the surface of Malbolge. The lakes of bile produce poisons and acids used by his cultists, as well as being sold to devils from the other layers and other interested parties. The Ribcage Mountains are exactly what they sound like, and have growths that sometimes drop from them, crushing lesser devils below, and sometimes giving birth to night hags, hell houses, Paleurons. It's a type of devil, though they're usually just poisonous goo. Finally, there are 10 ivory towers, one for each of Malagard, the Hag Queen's fingers. The first of which is Glacia has carved out and turned into the Tower of Pain, which is a fun place full of heavy stuff. Or a torture chamber for the Archdevil's most dangerous enemies, one of the two. She's working on a second one. Apparently this shit takes time. Alright. Maladomini, the seventh lair and home of Beelzebub. A land of crumbling cities, sludge-choked rivers, oil and grime, poison sludge, diesel clouds, and noxious muck, slime beneath me, slime above. Oh, you'll love my toxic love.
Not what I was expecting to hear, but all right.
Thank you, Mr. Curry. Always appreciate your work.
But you basically get the idea. This is very much pollution. Rot, decay, and pollution are the theme of the lair of the Lord of the Flies ever since he took over from its previous lord, basically. Malagard is a slowly collapsing city that is crumbling over time, despite the occasional frenzied sprees of clean and repair that shrink back into a fatalistic decay, basically. The Palace of Filth is a mound of dung and refuse with the interior shaped by Beelzebub himself, that he rules this plane from, or exists in. Let's see. Also, the Carnival Eternal is a Disneyland for devils that Beelzebub rewards his minions with. Other places here. Ulfalon is a city dedicated to teaching devils about mortal society and politics by simulating them in Beator, even going so far as to press mortals into service as advisors and basically wildcards in various scenarios. Also, the city of Grenpoli, on the other hand, specializes in teaching pure politics with a full ban on any violence whatsoever enforced by magical wards and any patrollers, with exactly one punishment they ever enforce for breaking the rule: summary execution. Ironically, this makes the city a sanctuary for non-devils as well as neutral ground for trades and negotiations. It's strangely enough one of the safest places in what is otherwise a horrible, horrible place.
Yeah, alright, this worked out for everybody.
Alright, Lair 8. Cania, home of Mephistopheles, is a frigid wasteland far colder than Stygia, with massive glaciers, frozen mountains, constant snowstorms, and deep crevasses, usually hidden under thin layers of ice and snow.
I'll give you a deep crevasse.
Yep.
Had to. Sorry, couldn't stop myself.
That's fine, that's fine. Gives me time to breathe. So, Mephisar is the main citadel of Mephistopheles, a citadel carved into a mountain surrounded by glaciers and is topped with his palace. The city below is a garden crafted from ice. The new school of Hellfire, which has been Mephistopheles' new project, and also a Taka zone of airborne effluvia caused by said school of Hellfire is located there as well. Let's see. In the opposite direction is the city of Kintyre, located below a glacier, located below a glacier that crushed it for reasons, but is now being excavated due to having relics that might help with that Hellfire research, probably. And finally, the new settlement of Nibeltat is mostly occupied by discontent ice devils mad at the newfangled fire magic research and pouring themselves into good old-fashioned spying on their Hellfire researching enemies and researching their own newfangled ice magic.
Hell ice.
Yep. And finally, Nessus, the ninth lair and the throne of Asmodeus. It is a blasted plain, and by that I mean PLAIN, the actual terrain type, floating in a swirling crimson void that's flat and featureless enough to see from miles in all directions. In other words, it's Kansas. The land itself is scarred with gorges and canyons that run dozens of miles deep and make navigation a pain in the ass, much akin to every other layer of the Nine Hells, but in its own awful way, I guess. Spiraling canyons where Asmodeus fell, which no devil who wants to live will acknowledge, is called the Serpent's Coil and leads to the fortress Nessus and the throne of Beator itself, where Asmodeus sits and schemes when he is doing anything else. There are also a bunch of other gorges with their own brands of awful. The Forgotten Lake, which is created by the waters of the River Styx falling into Cania, where it spreads out before falling out of the plain and into the Gehenna, or falling here from Kenya. Excuse me for a second.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, Malshan, an enormous fortress that sits in the intersection of two gorges that houses a massive personal army of devils spawned from Amoeus' blood, which, with connecting tunnels so large that a map would span thousands of pages. This is his personal invasion force meant to storm the heavens as soon as the time is right. Dun dun dun.
Seemed like such a good idea when he first came up with them, and now there's been loitering playing Uno. There's only one Uno deck in that entire room.
You have Uno!
And finally, the magical location, Tabjari, a copper citadel on the side of the Reaper's Canyon that can only be entered by tunnels and no devils ever are allowed to patrol near. Inside is a Amoeus copy of the Pact Primeval, encased in a ruby 10 feet high, 6 feet wide, and weighing 20 tons, solely for the purposes of making it as hard as possible to move. The whole place radiates a raw aura of law, evil, and good, causing devils to slowly demote if they stay there near there too long, which means the only guardians of the pact are actually cultists of Asmodeus. Note the other two copies of the Pact Primeval are in the lawful good plane, effectively, and with Primus, the ruler of Mechanus. Alright, on to Chapter 3, The Crunch! And the crunch here starts with Hellbred, which are an interesting race. So basically, Hellbred consists of souls that would normally have been damned to hell, but repented at the last minute. To which the lawful good gods went, okay, but did you actually fucking mean it? We're going to bring you back to life one last time. Try to prove that you're not a piece of shit. As such, with that type of origin, they actually, unlike the other like rebirth races, like the Dragonborn of Bahamut, they are just straightforward. Just this. There's no putting a template on top of another race.
Oh, okay.
Which is notable in their automatic languages. They speak Infernal. I think that's the only thing that came from the transformation. They actually remember the stuff they spoke before the scourging. But everything else, I think they lose. But yeah, most notable about them. Let's see. First and foremost, Hellbound. Unless basically the level 9 res spell is used, they cannot be resurrected. They are basically bound to hell if they die. As a default. Regardless of alignment and class restrictions, they can cast spells with the evil descriptor. They never care about it. They can wield stuff. They can wield evil items. They're basically kind of considered to be pseudo-evil for basically everything. They can use an unholy weapon without issue, even if they're not actually evil in alignment. They also start with Devil's Favor as a bonus feat, which gets them into a chain that you would otherwise have to actually a feat chain that you would otherwise actually have to be evil to use, sort of. It's a weird one, and kind of like Dragonborn of Bahamut, they have they choose one of I believe it was 2 aspects. Yeah, they choose one of 2 aspects and basically get a growing bonus based on how many hit dice they have, basically how high a level they are. Like body here, let's see. Gain bonus devil touch feats, which are which is along the devil's favor feats we'll talk about in a minute. Also bonus versus poisons, etc. Whereas the spirit one, I believe this is the spirit one, which is the sight one. Starts with dark vision, some bonuses to sight, also gains a bonus to... also notably there's a stat bonus. There's stat bonus and penalties actually attached to which one of them they choose. So yeah, the body one's a bonus to con with a penalty to intelligence. The spirit one's a bonus to charisma with a penalty to con. And ironically, the favorite class is actually Paladin. Let's see. And on to the feats proper. I did not... I only highlight these ones so we could go over them briefly, because they're basically feats for devils, but it is a feat to brand them proper, brand them proper as one of as a follower of one of the 9 lords, and then the follow-up feat to give them extra bonuses on top of that. But yeah, the actual feats we're talking about. Dilate Aura, which I found interesting here because it's a once per encounter ability and just doubles the size of an aura. Lasts for charisma modifier rounds, and most aura using classes are also charisma based anyways. Or most classes that have an aura are basically charisma based. I think the base idea here was to double the size of the paladin's fear bonus aura from 10 to 20, which is a rather significant increase in area it covers. But this also works pretty well for the various other aura users, Dragon, Shaman, or Martial, kind of. And especially Divine Mind, depending on what level it is. Let's see. Also, Supernatural Instincts here. Yes, whenever something uses a supernatural ability, it provokes an attack of opportunity, which is just good depending on what type of campaign you're in and what you're actually fighting against on a regular basis. But some things do have rather annoying supernatural attacks. Also, Undo Resist is here. Yep. Whenever you sneak attack something with a cold iron weapon, you reduce Sneak attack. Yeah, with a sneak attack with cold iron weapon, you reduce target spell resistance by 1 per point of sneak attack die. This will very quickly just strip out saying spell resistance, which is kind of one of those rare feats that is which is a lot of feats and abilities tend to not play so much on the teamwork on the teamwork idea of, okay, the rogue is now going to benefit the casters so they can get through the spell resistance now, or stuff like that. That's not a very common design in 3.5, so it is kind of interesting to see. It's also fairly effective because this will strip away spell resistance to almost nothing fairly quickly, as long as you can actually land sneak attacks. I mean, even taking 5 points off of spell resistance will make it will usually be good enough. All the bonuses the caster will usually have versus spell resistance. Let's see. Also, Vengeful Surge here. Whenever you make a successful saving throw against a spell-like ability, or supernatural ability, just +2 damage versus that thing. Just a cute little extra feat, basically. Let's see. And on to the new Divine Feats, which work like all the little Divine Feats. Basically, you need Turn or Rebuke in order to use them, and they're powered by Turn or Rebuke. Defiance here, immediate action. Attempt to just straight up counter a spell or spell-like ability. Must have the real... Yeah. It lets you do a counterspell. You still have to cast you still have to have either the spell you're countering prepared or have Dispel Magic prepared, but it still lets you just do... normally, in order to counter a spell, you have to actually ready an action, so you wouldn't even have your standard action. This just lets you do it as an immediate action. Divine Justice here, which is straight up swift action. You do 2d6 extra damage to evil outsiders for an entire round. In addition, each of them struck has to make a wolf save or be shaken for a minute. Persistent Refusal here, swift action, spend a turn tempt. Yes, saying the target... Yeah, spend a swift action and a turn attempt to make another save versus something that targets you with something that has a continuous duration. For example, if you fail a save against hold monster, you can spend a turn attempt to swift action to attempt another save. Okay, so that one led me down a rabbit hole of, shouldn't you not be able to do that because it's an action? And it turns out you actually can take actions under the paralyzed condition. It's just they have to be purely mental actions.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. Notably, though, you can't actually take actions under the lesser stun condition. So, strangely enough, if you're stunned, you can't do this. But if you're paralyzed, you absolutely can. Let's see. And Pious Defense, turn or rebuke attempt to get as immediate action to gain bonus on will saves equal half your character level, which can be a fairly high bonus, especially if you already have a decent will save bonus. And finally over here is the Devil's Favor Feats. So normally you need a pact with a devil, which, unless you're a Hellbred, a Pact of Devil is not generally. You could ask your DM for that, and it might be an interesting thing, but like the real reason you're doing this is because you want all the feats past this, anyways. And more or less, these are just really good feats, actually, because they're much like all the other like the Fiendish or Abyssal or whatever ones that basically scale with the amount of you taken. It's just all of them are like a little bit stronger than they usually are. So for example, Devil's Aura here, you can generate an Aura of Fear for 1 round as a swift action. Everything within 10 feet must save will save or be shaken for D3 rounds. Use a number of times per day equal to Devil number of Devil Touch feats you have. Devil's Flesh here, gain natural armor bonus and bonus on intimidate checks equal to half number of feats you have. Also take penalties on diplomacy checks against good creatures as a side effect. Devil's Sight, gain dark vision or improve dark vision by 60, and a swift and more importantly, as a swift action, you can have blind sight up to 30 feet for 5 rounds. Notably, blind sight doesn't even have a miss chance. You just straight up know where practically everything is within that area. It is one of the best sight things you can basically have. Is see invisibility, plus you basically ignore illusions, plus a lot of shit like that. It and True Sight are basically the 2 best seeing things you can have. Devil's Stamina here, which is just 2 HP per... 2 HP per Devil's Touch feat you have, and once per day you can gain fast healing equal number of Devil's Touch feats you possess for 5 rounds, which can be an okay amount of healing, I guess. And Devil's Tongue, standard action. Opponent within 60 feet must make a will save or be dazed for a round. In addition, they're rendered flat-footed, which is almost practical. It's like stun without the -2. Yeah, it's drops it. Not quite as harsh as stun, but it almost is. More nobly on this one, use same number of uses as like Devil's Aura here, number of Devil Touch feats, but you can use 2 of them to actually use as a swift action, which actually makes it good. Because standard action in order to try and CC one thing is generally not worth it, but when you can actually use it as a swift action, that's a lot different. You're no longer eating up your own action economy. Alright, and on to the prestige classes, starting with Hellbreaker here. A roguelike class that gets, 3 sneak attack dice over 10 levels, hide in darkness, even against creatures that can see in darkness, a 20-foot aura of no telepathy, and some divination resistance. The ability to trade 2 sneak dice to steal a spell-like ability. The ability to tag along when someone within 30 feet teleports with a level check if the caster is unwilling to do so. The ability to trade 2 sneak dice to prevent the use of spell-like abilities for class level rounds. A 20-foot aura of no conjuration, calling, or summoning spells and spell-likes. And the ability to steal a supernatural ability instead of a spell-like ability the same way, and the capstone of a personal once per day plane shift. So this is kind of Spell Thief with extra steps, though it does have some targeted foils that can be good in certain campaigns. Otherwise, it's interesting but kind of meh. Let's see, Hellfire Warlock. The Warlock Prestige class that gets full Eldritch Blast and Invocation progression, Hellfire Blast, an improvement to your Eldritch Blast that does 2d6 extra damage per class level to every target hit at the cost of 1 stamina damage every time you use it. And notably, in spite the name, is not fire damage. 10 fire resist that stacks with Warlock class fire resist. The ability to apply empower, enlarge, widen, or energy substitution to any charge-based magic item, basically stabs and wands, that you use charisma number of times per day as a swift action. And Hellfire Shield, an immediate action that deals damage to a target that strikes you in melee with your blast damage. Hellfire bonus included with a reflex save for half, and it does a point of con as well as the cost for doing this one. So there is no reason for a Warlock not to take all 3 levels in this class, preferably as soon as they can. That is my entire evaluation of this class. It is not just stupid good, it is stupid good for free, because this literally costs you practically nothing as a Warlock. Hellreaver, a martial class that is here to beat evil's ass. It gets Holy Fury, which is a free action once per encounter or ability that makes your attacks good aligned, gives you immunity to fear, and gives you class level plus your charisma bonus Holy Fury points to spend on your other class features, and this buff lasts until the end of the encounter. Let's. So yeah, so you use that beginning of encounter, get a bunch of points, and all the bonuses last for the entire encounter.
Nice.
Yeah. So as for the stuff they have, nothing actually. Fury.
Wow. Okay. All right.
So, Furious Strike, a scaling swift action that costs 1 Fury point to give you a bonus to your next attack and damage rolls against an evil creature. It starts at a +2 bonus to hit and plus D6 damage, but eventually becomes a +8 bonus to hit and plus 46 damage. Also, a swift action that costs 1 point that heals you eventually 30 HP. An immediate action that eventually lets you spend up to 2 points to get a +2 bonus per point to a save that you can use after rolling that save. And the same thing, but for AC. Metal. This is literally just straight metal, the evasion for Ford and Will. They also get a swift action that does 2 con damage, but gives you back all of your Holy Fury points, in case you've run out of them. A swift action that costs 3 Holy Fury points that imbues your next attack with a dimensional anchor. And Divine Retribution, the capstone that lets you once per day as a swift action spend 4 points to force an evil outsider you hit with your next attack to make a fort save or explode dead in a flash of light that blinds all evil creatures within a 60-foot burst for 1 round. No save for the blindness.
Jesus.
Or, if they pass, they take 10d6 extra damage. So, yeah, this class is just plain awesome and well designed. I mean, the capstone is a bit on the mess side in the sense that it's still fine, and especially since you get your last improvement of Furious Strikes at that same level as well. The fact that it's a once per day ability and amusing as shit. But it also brings Furious Strikes up to a +8 and +46, so yeah, fine. I just don't.
Couple, one at a time.
Yeah, I don't have anything bad to say about this class. It's very fucking good, actually.
All right.
Yeah. The only thing here is I actually almost wish this was like new Paladin or something, practically. But yeah, if you want Paladin without casting, this is the best Paladin without casting I've seen. Let's see, Soul Guard. A divine casting class that loses 1 level of casting and gets the ability to wisdom times per day, use a standard action, and wisdom bonus times per day, use a standard action, and spend any spell slot or whatever to gain true seeing for spell level rounds, basically. Also a swift action and spending a spell to make an outsider have to make a will save or cower in fear for spell slot rounds or until it's attacked. Also immunity to charm spells and effects, dispel evil as a spell like eventually 3 times per day, atonement once per day that can instead cleanse corruption, immunity to compulsion spells and effects, a supernatural standard action that spends a turn attempt to do a d6 per class level to all outsiders within 30 feet, no save. And a 20-foot aura of +2 to saves versus evil outsiders, and a capstone of a 20-foot aura that keeps evil outsiders from teleporting within 20 feet of you that is named Dimensional Anchor for some reason to annoy the crap out of me. And Shiv if he was here. So, in an evil outsider focused campaign, this is a solid option, but not overly so, and it falls off in a more general one, because, yeah, most of what I said just said evil outsider there. Let's see. Beyond that, we get on to spells. There wasn't terribly a large amount to talk about, unsurprisingly, because unsurprisingly, kind of, they more focus on the evil part of the spellcasting here. Let's see. Devil's Evil. Ego here was an interesting buff, because it's a swift action, lasts for a minute per round, actually gives a bonus to charisma. It is, however, A, evil, and B, the bigger problem, it's part of the diabolic domain, so... That being the bigger issue of it, his access is not exactly amazing. Let's see. Devil's Eye, which was a decent scene spell. Yeah. visual acuity of a devil. You see in darkness and magical darkness out to 30 feet. Note, see in darkness is not the same as dark vision. Magical darkness, dark vision does not generally work in. See in darkness will work versus magical darkness. That's why it describes it as literally seen in magical darkness. It is a slight distinction that thankfully they did away with because it was fucking stupid. But then again, I can say that about a lot of things when it comes to 3.5, but that's a different matter entirely. Let's see. And Righteous Exile, a Cleric Capstone, actually is a full round action, but is just a straight burst of 20d6 damage to all evil creatures within 20 feet of you. There's no save for this damage, by the way. The save is only for an evil outsider.
Damn.
So this just does flat 20d6 damage. There's spell resistance, that's it. Yeah. Also in this book is a shit ton of investiture spells, and I only will put one here as an example because they're all kind of terrible. They're all also fairly evil. But the idea is basically it is a standard action buff, lasts like a minute per level or something. All of the ones that are of appropriate level 4 Blackguard are on the Blackguard list technically. There's a lot of extra Blackguard spells in here, but they're all kind of bad because a lot of them are the investitures, which are kind of okay buffs. The main shtick of them is they stack with each other. So if you get this one, for example, gives you increased reach of 5 feet and 5 fire resistance. If you cast another one that gives you more fire resistance, they will stack with each other. Other than that, they're not really that impressive for the cost. You can only throw so many standard action buffs up before, or in a single combat before you actually have to do something.
Yeah, I was gonna say you have to fight at some point.
Yeah. In case devils. In other words, the monster section. Starting with the Badazu subtype here, which all devils roughly are the Badazu subtype. Notably gives them immunity to fire and poison, resistance to acid and cold, but not electricity. You can actually electrocute devils just fine. Notably, demons are immune to electricity, so that's kind of, well, okay, the Tanari demons are immune to electricity, so that's where the balancing point kind of is on that. Acid is the least resistant between demons and devils, and considering these are things you fight fairly often, that's why it tends to be weighted a little higher. But yeah, beyond that, they all have see in darkness, so they can see through magical darkness and such. And like Tanari, they have summoning as well, usually minions. And telepathy is a standard thing for them. All right, now on staring at these things. Yep. So the Abishai here. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I love a good set of monochromatic polychrome demons.
Yeah, can you guess who these are minions of? This
could be anyone.
Yeah, this black, blue, green, red, and white set of devils. Obvious. In a way, isn't everyone a minion of Asmodeus? The answer is no.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
Yes, you're wrong, because these are minions of Tiamat, and Tiamat does not work for Asmodeus. Let's see. Aminzu here. Yeah, Guardian Devils are tasked with overseeing the gates of hell, actually. So, if you're going in or out of hell, you're probably going to interact with one of these guys. Also notable, this book much takes after Monster Manual 4 in the sense that it doesn't just have the monster entry, it also has like a lot more to it, like here's a society, here's like a sample layer for these creatures, etc, etc, here's how they fit in other settings, all that stuff. That was kind of neat, and a lore check thing as well, which is kind of nice to have just in general. That way the DM doesn't have to struggle to figure out what to tell you when you make a knowledge planes check for one of these things. Let's see. Harvester Devils here. These along for NEAs are the two ones that basically make Faustian packs. And they look exactly how you would think for someone who runs around making deals with people. Or a devil that runs around making deals with you. Yep. Also this thing, a Hellfire engine, because, yeah, Hell makes constructs, unsurprisingly. Also notable is the explanation for Hellfire here, which is a creation of Mephistopheles, Archduke of Cania, hotter than the hottest flames in the world. Hellfire burns with a white-hot glow and is capable of burning through even the hardest of substances. Hellfire does not deal fire damage despite its flames. Even creatures immune to or resistant to fire take full damage from the hellish flames. Hellfire deals full damage to objects, unlike normal fire as well. Basically, it just does the damage it does. Yeah. And Kabalin's here. Devils spawn from the rotting flesh of the hag countess's carcass. Yeah, just basically weird things that fall over and cluster together. And I'm not exactly sure what this is supposed to be a picture of because the description's a little bit off from the picture, but it's weird. That devil I can't pronounce. Palerion. Somebody help me here.
Aileron?
Yeah.
Hilarion. Well, that's my best shot at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go with that. But yeah, these are the more powerful thing that was actually falling, or that could actually potentially be spawned from the carpus of that from the hag countess's ribs, basically. And notably, I believe Glacia, the archdevil of that lair, uses a lot of them as minions as well. Them and Arinias. Pleasure Devils, which was the promoted version of Arinias, effectively. Which notably look just human, because their job is very much, they specialize in corrupting the servants of gods. They are very much deep undercover types.
This is deeply disrespectful to the monster lovers.
Yeah. On their end of the monster lovers, spine devils or spinagoons.
No king shame.
Now, that's just deeply uncomfortable to the monster lovers. There's a difference. They're still going to do it, but they're going to be kicking quills out of the chest for weeks.
I'm just amused by their proper devil name being Spinagon. It's just I don't know why, it just seems cartoonish almost. Let's see, Still Devils, which look strangely fairly human actually. They're also kind of here as more an example of the several devils in here that are just straight up, these are just foot soldiers in the Blood War. There are a lot of them in here. That was also one of the cleaner ones for me to cut out. Alright. And finally on to the Lords of the Nine. The Archdevils, the Archdukes, okay, you get the point.
Yeah, those look like managers of hell.
Yeah.
The Little Princes of New York.
Yeah. This is why you don't take the subway. So, unlike Hordes of the Abyss, the Archdevils do not have stats for the Archdevil proper in here. Because these are near deific things, basically.
Yeah.
What they do have stats for in here are the aspects, or the high-level aspects, which border on how powerful demon princes are, by the way, by themselves. There are a lot more demon princes.
This is one of those things that they've statted out for strictly note-taking purposes, and you should never try and actually fight one of these.
That's mostly the purview of like deities and demigods. The aspects you stand a better chance of being able to fight at high level, but I mean this is a challenge range 20. It's somewhat depending on how well built the character is, and usually anyone who's actually playing a level 20 character, practically anything you throw in front of them, unless they're completely ridiculous or literally deities, is going to melt before it can take a turn. Honestly, this only has a +6 to initiative. It is very likely the player characters are going to go first, and something stupid is going to happen. Because they are rigged to make something stupid happen, trademark. With that said, they are fairly resilient, and if the level 20 party isn't built well, yeah, it's going to be an actual fight. Also, a lot of these things cause vile damage. Vile damage can only be healed when you're under a Consecrator Hollow, which is kind of an interesting thing, and completely worthless as a player character. Practically nothing you fight ever heals. But yeah, in any case, our poster boy right here, Bel, the Lord of Avernus. He rose through the ranks from Lemur all the way to Pit Fiend before deposing Zariel, the previous Lord of the First Lair, and taking the title. Bel stays out of diabolic politics, as well as the Blood War occupies most of his time, with the other archdukes giving him a tithe of soldiers, equipment, and souls, so Bel can focus on fighting the Tonari, which he is very good at. Bel is one of the greatest tactical minds in Beator and wants to form more formal alliances with the other lords, but no one trusts him since he so readily usurped Zariel, who the others were planning to topple as well, but the devil logic is devil logic here. His closest allies are the Dark Eight, the other Pit Fiends who control the armies of the other lairs, all of whom hold Bel in high esteem. He's actually the most straightforward of all the archdevils. In what he's about and what he does. Right. The next one. Despater, the Iron Duke, the Lord of Dis, and Archdevil of War and Intrigue. Strangely enough, all of them except Bel, because he just recently took the job, actually has something that they're patron of one sort or another. So in any case, he appears as cold and calculating, and is probably the most cautious and borderline paranoid devil in the Nine Hells. He never leaves his fortress and is waged a shadow war against Beelzebul with the help of his ally Mephistopheles until the recent events with Glacia taking over the Sixth Lair with the assistance of her father has driven him to pursue a neutrality with the other archdevils, as well as turn his attention inward to root out spies and traitors, as well as secure his own power and intake of souls. Basically, he frayed. This happens when, like, one of the former archdukes explodes over their own lair and becomes a new version of it. Let's see. Mammon, the Lord of Minaros and Archdevil of Greed and Lust. Mammon used to be the Lord of Malboj and had a thing with Glacia, Asmodeus' daughter, before he took part in a rebellion to overthrow Asmodeus, known as the Reckoning, or also the Mistake, which failed, and he was demoted and cursed with his serpent form, and somehow ended up as Lord of Minaros as well. Don't. Let's see. Mammon himself is a duplicitous stake known for groveling before Asmodeus, and is also not trusted by the other archdukes, but more so he knows they never will, so Mammon focuses mainly on growing his cult and gaining followers among mortals by offering them wealth and power. Granted, not trusted by your other archdukes is a theme here. Let's see. Next one's Belial, the archdevil of secrets, domination, and seduction, and Fierna, the archdevil of fire and pain, are the father-daughter duo with who rule Phlegethos, with Fierna formally holding the title of Archduchess, and Belial being the real power behind the throne. Belial used to be the actual formal ruler of the plane before the Reckoning, but was demoted afterwards, sort of. Fierna was content to stay the ruler name only until recent events with Glacia, Asmodeus' daughter, taking over the Sixth Lair, and she's been hanging out with her, being a bestie, and scheming to become the formal ruler of the Fourth Lair. Meanwhile, Belial, who raised armies to conquer the Fifth and Sixth Lairs, was caught by surprise when Glacia took over and has paused operations, not wanting to anger Asmodeus again, as it didn't go well the last time.
There.
Okay. Levistus, Lord of Sidian, Archdevil of Vengeance and Betrayal. Before that, however, Levistus tried to get at Bensozia, the consort of Asmodeus and mother of Glacia, who he killed after she refused to submit, to which Asmodeus responded by encasing him inside Stygia's greatest iceberg, where he was left for eons until Asmodeus decided to make him ruler of Stygia, displacing the former ruler Geryon, but not laying him out of the glacier. It's like, congratulations, you can rule this plane, you're still not getting out of the iceberg. Gary's former power was used to elevate Asmodeus' daughter, while the hopelessly treacherous Levistus served as a distraction for the other archdukes, or so Levistus had reasoned, from the otherwise baffling promotion from his obvious enemy who he continues to scheme against, even knowing how bad an idea that is now that he is no longer useful as a distraction. So attempts by his minions to chip away at the iceberg have only seemed to make the thing thicker, and everyone is content to leave him to rot, as a free Levistus would work to betray all of Beator in one way or another, which is something his aspect is also doing, but in a slower and less grandiose pace. Basically, even among devils, this man is not trustworthy. Galecia, who I've indirectly talked about several times over already, Lord of Malboge, Archdevil of Corruption, Growth, and Agony, and daughter of Asmodeus. She is the newest Archdevil, taking over for the Hag Countess, whose overgrown and exploded corpse is now her lair. Galecia used to be openly defiant of her father, having a relationship with Mammon before the Reckoning and the Serpent thing happening to him, and staying out too late for on-school nights and stuff like that. But now they seem to get along. Her favorite hobby was seducing mortals and leading them personally to their doom in Beator, but now she has to rule a lair, so she leaves that to her Reniers. Her current focus is cementing her hold on Malboge and plotting against Levistus, who she detests for killing her mother. She has spies trying to find proof good enough for her father to approve of his destruction, which honestly shouldn't be too hard if it doesn't run afoul of another of Asmodeus' schemes. Beelzebul, Lord of Maladomini, and Archdevil of Strength and Guile. He is known as the Lord of Lies, Lord of the Flies, Fallen One, and Sluggo.
I was gonna say he's a slug.
Yes.
He's a slug.
He actually is known as the Slug Archduke. So unlike other devils, Beelzebul is a newer arrival from after the initial pack Primeval. He was once an Archon named Triel, who was famed for his beauty and power, but his lust for physical perfection led him down the path of corruption, which may have been engineered by Asmodeus. In any event, he woke up one day in Beator with obsidian skin and eyes of a fly, as the unique devil Beelzebul, far more powerful than before. He was quickly promoted to lord of his own lair. Then he took part in the Reckoning, and Asmodeus turned him into a slug, much to the light of Dispater and Mephistopheles, who hate him as an upstart. He is technically allied with Belial, but Belial is currently distracted with his and his daughter is kind of sus at the moment. Mephistopheles, Lord of Cadia and Archdevil of Fire and Magic. He is the second most powerful Archdevil in Beator, behind Asmodeus, and has only one goal: Asmodeus' throne, which is something he has told Asmodeus to his face. His naked ambition has led to an ally in Dispater and an enemy in Beelzebul, and the rivalry between them occupies most of their time, actually. Lately, Asmodeus has been obsessed with his Hellfire project and is using it to grow his mortal cultists, something he has always found trouble with in the past, since the mortals often mistake him for Asmodeus. This has come at the cost of delayed soul harvest, forcing him to take out loans of divine energy from other rulers, which may put him into debt if this gamble doesn't pay off. We are mid-plot here.
See, every time I hear about Asmodeus and all the things that people have done around them, the more I'm convinced that the devils are actually all Looney Tunes characters, and Asmodeus is just Bugs Bunny.
I was about to say something like that.
You're not wrong, and also, Mephistopheles is just so fucking the archetype.
Yeah, he's Daffy Duck.
Yeah. And finally, Asmodeus. The old Skola, the Microla. You want a trip, he'll take it to you. He is the Lord of Nessus, the ruler of Beator, and the Archdevil of Might and Oppression. He is also in constant pain for the wounds that have only half healed. So the initial tale of the Pack Primeval in this book changed the ending a little, as his parting with the good law deities was less friendly than he suggests, as he was hurled into Bandor so hard it probably broke the plane apart into its current 9 layers. That's where all of the freaking cracks in Nessus actually come from. The chasms are from him hitting the ground so hard it broke the fucking place apart.
I not only bounced, he ruptured space-time.
So Asmodeus is the oldest and most powerful schemer with cults that outnumber all of the other archdevils combined, and with spies all over the 9 hells. He is well aware of all the schemes of the other archdevils. His current plan is to gain enough divine power to fully heal, strike a treaty with the demons that will last at least long enough to turn the war from one of law versus chaos to one of good versus evil, though he knows the demons will turn against him at some point because demons, and wants to deal with all of them as well and ascend to godhood. Whether this plan will actually work or not, who knows? He does feel that he is ahead of schedule. Also, the Ruby on Asmodeus, a major artifact.
So what we're saying is he shouldn't have taken that heel turn at Albuquerque.
Exactly. Past that, we have the appendix, much like the one in Fiendish Codex, Fiendish Codex 1, Hordes of the Abyss, where proper alphabetical listing of all of the devils and where to find them. Note FC2 is Fiendish Codex 2, this book. There are a lot of new devils in this book, unsurprisingly. Though, granted, a large proportion of this chart is covered by the aspects the aspects of the characters we just talked about. Right. And also devils by CR, which is a useful tool to have in general. Yep. And beyond that, we have, well, the back of the book. Yeah, so much like the first Fiendish Codex, this is an awesome fluff book.
Yeah. It's awesome fluff. It's an interesting kind of evil, because it's not just like the demons, which are rampaging and murder, kill, things like that. It's very interesting, like court politics and intrigue and layers upon layers, figuratively and literally.
Yeah. And it's good explanations and ideas of how devils work and how to use them in campaigns and various stuff like that. It gives you a lot of the pieces to put stuff together, basically. And
yeah, there is the... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. That was basically the...
I was going to say, there is a question that an outside observer might have, like a non-D&D person, which is, why quibble about the difference between demons and devils? And this book makes a fascinating case for, no, they're 2 very different flavors of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, as an aside, I did have a concept for a really funny one-shot campaign from this book. Okay, so the entire concept is Asmodeus walks a young child by the hand from one side of the city to another in full view of everyone. Everyone is tripping over themselves trying to figure out why he did this, and unbeknownst to the DM, he has no reason for doing this apart from everybody thinks he has a plan, and it's funny. So it's literally just Asmodeus walking the kid across, maybe picking out a toy from a window for him.
Them all thinking there's some alternative motive.
Yeah, they're
because he fucking feels like it.
Yeah.
The PCs are trying to figure out, okay, who is the kid? Is he the son of a noble, or is Asmodeus trying to get to the king through his heir or something like that? And no, Asmodeus is just fucking with everybody.
Asmodeus can very easily fuck with people by doing basically anything. So,
Asmodeus opens an ice cream stand.
But yeah, these 2 Fiendish Codexes do a very good job of distinguishing what makes a demon and what makes a devil.
Yeah.
And yeah, the book very much gets across the very heavily lawful and very heavily evil nature of devils. It's there are several places that are paperwork. Literally, there's this entire city that is just dedicated to doing bureaucracy and paperwork. everything is in order. Everything is in order. There's a hierarchy to everyone, etc.
It is one of the hardest thing, like unironically, it is one of the hardest things for a party to fight, which is bureaucracy. You can
Yeah.
fight all of like the demons you want, you can beat up town guards, but how do you fight something that you can't overpower physically and you have to play by the rules of, or at least play within the bounds that the devils have set?
Yeah, you have to play the game. Yeah, you effectively have to play the game by different rules of intrigue and politics.
Yeah, you have to do the sneaky, crafty stuff. You have to do the, making deals with people, even if those deals are an inherently bad idea. It might be the best thing you can do at this time. I mean, you did find yourself in the devil's world.
Yeah. Also, even just how they operate in the material world and how interesting they can actually be in plots in general.
Oh yeah, like a good devil who's like bending and twisting the rules to their advantage is a great foil for like pretty much any campaign. You can even do you can do greater demons, you can do lesser demons. Literally, the choices are endless. You have a full buffet of demonisms, or sorry, devilisms to play around with.
Yeah.
What's great is this is also a type of enemy that you very easily could have. They want to help you, not because they're helping you, but because it gets to someone that they are upset with, and have no other ulterior motive, and it still works fine.
Yeah, that's
So
also.
you never know if you're able to trust the one who's helping you or not.
They're almost always trying to accomplish more than one thing at the same time. But the great part about that is, as far as enemies of devils are concerned, yeah, pretty much everything, including other devils.
Yep.
So practically everything evil in existence can still be basically an enemy of a devil for one reason or another. Also, they usually want to screw with other devils because notably they're not them. I want my promotion, goddammit. These are my souls.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can very much be the thankful in the plot, so to speak.
Or you can get your classic Constantine bargains. It's like, I've sold my soul to 3 separate demons, and if one of these demons ever overpowers the other 2, or not demons, devils, overpowers the other 2, well, they can have my soul. Key being, if. Constantine's a bastard, but he has some great moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would even argue that most of his great moments come because he's a bastard.
True. But we're getting into tangential topics here, and I don't know how far we want to go on these tangents.
No, I think it's about far down as we've gone. But yeah, it's one of the basically one of the stronger fluff books, along with all the other strong fluff books. But
yep,
yeah,
that does seem to be their wheelhouse, is being real good at doing fluff books.
They're good at world building. They're not good at making rules.
They're better at this point. If you haven't noticed for the prestige classes, there's more good than bad.
Yeah.
There's still some bad, and also when it comes to feats, I like a lot of the feat sections beforehand. I was digging for things that were actually good. Player's Handbook 2 and Post Player's Handbook 2, it's kind of almost the opposite. I'm actually only grabbing the stuff that is truly interesting and not actually like. There's stuff I left on the cutting room floor that were still like good feats.
Yeah, good, just uninteresting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
like we say, they're not good at rules, but there's a reason that D&D is kind of the ubiquitous name of, pen and paper role-playing games for a long time.
Well,
you're better at it than a lot of other people.
I can say they can be not good at rules and still be better at it than everyone else.
It's less accurate they're not good at rules and more accurate that okay, so there's part of the reason why the series is called D&D in Hindsight. We are looking at this entire thing through hindsight of
That's fair.
having played it and also having more and more like RPGs have advanced design wise quite a bit since 3.5, and a lot of the like merits and flaws are pretty well known and explored. There's a reason why, like, even Pathfinder First Edition, everyone's moved on from, give or take. I mean, there's still people who play every single type of RPG, but you did. Part of the reason why I chose 3.5 is there actually isn't that much content on 3.5 anymore, going up, or at least any new content per se.
That's fair.
Yeah. But yeah, one of the strongest things and the things that holds up the most when it comes to 3.5 itself is the fluff like this book. And strangely enough, this is like the most floating fluff. Like Devil or Archdevils change between editions. I think almost every edition. Like Zariel, for example, as I pointed out earlier, is back to being the Lord of the First Layer of the Abyss. Or not the Abyss of the Nine Hells. I don't remember whether Glacia is or isn't the Lord of Malboge, Archduchess of Malboge. So I realize I need to put D&D before that. That is actually a good question. But yeah, basically, who's in charge of what layer tends to change between editions. Like, I think the Hag Countess was like D&D second edition proper was actually or she may have actually been the Lord of the Sixth Layer. Okay, there's 5th Ed. Block, small same, draw. As I realize how hard it is to actually do this in one single wiki search. But yeah. And granted, my focus with this book is presenting everything as it is in this book and not how it is through the editions.
Yeah.
There are other people who have covered that a lot more detail. But yeah, I think that will basically be all we have for you this week for D&D in Hindsight. Sunday we are taking this one off, but we'll be back the week after that for Super Robot Wars stuff.
That's correct.
Yep, and join us Monday for more Digimon Stories Cyber Sleuth Hacker's Memory. And join us back here on Thursday for the next book, Complete Scoundrel.
Complete Scoundrel.
Yep.
Han Solo. Wait,
Yeah.
sorry, wrong scoundrel.
No, but that will actually come up.
Amazing.
Hey, case. Till then, I'm Vincent.
I've been the Krampus.
I've been Hunter Green.
And I'm Vincent. And remember, everyone, if you fill out the proper paperwork, you'll realize that hindsight's 2020. Or you'll be given hindsight that is 2020. It'll just cost you your soul. All is really fine for it.